to welcome our guest speaker today, who is a member of our community, Mr. Matt Dice.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. I want to thank the CHP and San Marcos and all the wonderful kids I met last night for participating in every 15 minutes. Takes a lot of guts to do. I know you guys have gone through a lot of emotions, particularly in the last, let's say, 36 hours, and just a lot of props for what you're doing, okay? I'm going to tell you the story of my daughter, Mallory Ray Dice. This is Mallory's story, a beautiful girl with a beautiful soul. Mallory is brought home from the hospital and meets her big brother Matthew, who holds her for the very first time. This is the beginning of a close relationship that will last forever. Mallory's just hanging around today. You wouldn't think that this would lead to gymnastics and cheerleading, but it most certainly did. Matthew now has a sister that he can play with, and Mallory just loves her big brother. Little Mallory wants to be with her big brother all the time. This is my parents, Pop Pop and Grandma Kathy, looking proudly at their little granddaughter Mallory. And you can see by this expression on her face, she was very independent and strong-willed throughout her young life. This is her other grandpa, Grandpa Preston, my wife Rayona's father, who Rayona I've been married to over 30 years. Grandpa called her Little Princess, and he loved her dearly. Mallory loved books all of her life, and you can see that she started at a young age. She began to memorize entire books of nursery rhymes just after her second birthday. Yes, she talked pretty early too, I should mention. We're a dog family, and Mallory always loved our dogs. This is Liza, the first family dog. We called her Nana from Peter Pan because she was so protective of the kids. There was finally another addition to the family, and Mallory, who loved playing with dolls, had a little brother to play with and to dress up and to take care of. She loved her baby brother Michael dearly, took care of him all the way through school and junior high. It was like, oh, that's Mallory's brother, you better treat him right. Has anybody ever seen someone so happy to have a baby brother? And we're just now starting to see Mallory's famous smile. I think I mentioned she loved her baby dolls. I think you can tell in that picture. You all know the movie Vacation. Well, we took the whole family went to Idaho to see Grandma and Pop Pop. It was dogs and kids, and yeah, for me, 15 hours shepherding a motorhome up to 15. It was great. It is. It's. You know, when I was going through it, it was like, oh my God, will we ever get there? Will this ever end? But it's one of those memories you cherish forever. And we can certainly see why Grandpa Preston called her his little princess. There she is in full crown and regalia. Big Christmases at the Dice house. And so here we show the three children happy together in front of the Christmas tree. One of those times that you just cherish, and I look at this picture, it just brings back such good, happy memories for us. You know, I know Mama had her hair fixed up better than this when she went to school in the morning. But she was rambunctious, and I don't know, I think she still looks pretty darn beautiful there. And we're really starting to see that Mallory smile come together. Loved school, couldn't wait to get started, was disappointed when she realized at 4 that she didn't get to go yet and had to wait another year. But she got there and just enjoyed the heck out of it. Now, here's the full-fledged Mallory smile. Her smile brightened any room that she came into. You couldn't see that smile get one of her hugs and not just be lit up. Here we are, moving into our house in Corona. It's my mom, Grandma Kathy, and this is where Mallory lived until she graduated high school and came to UCSB. This is that family portrait, which I know all of you have had to sit wiggling and waiting. One more picture after one more picture. Oh, they're not smiling right. This person turned their head. No, this is the one that finally came out after many shots, and I just love to look at it. It's just brings back some wonderful, wonderful thoughts. I said earlier that Mallory loved reading, and obviously I was not kidding. My wife's a school teacher. She has a 5th, 6th combo, and she regularly brings this picture to school to motivate her students to read. Start of cheerleading. She was a baby Bruin when her brother Matthew was playing Junior All-American, and this is when she first got into cheer, and she loved it and continued it. I said that she loved to read. Well, a lot of reading makes you a very good speller. So in the 6th grade, Mallory competed in the spelling bee at Lincoln Elementary and was champion of the whole school. Next, she went on to compete in district, which included middle school students. Mallory was an excellent speller and well prepared. We worked really hard on those lists, and so she was ready when that big night arrived. Word after word, she spelled correctly, and competitor after competitor dropped to the wayside. There were just 3 contestants left, and they went 23 rounds. She was finally eliminated when she misspelled the word ostensible. Come on, I know a lot of you would have trouble with that one too. She went A-B-L-E instead of I-B-L-E, and I was just like, this word is infamous in the family. Somebody says it. Here, she's smiling for the camera here, but you can probably tell her eyes are a little swollen. There were some tears because she was just devastated to not win. I was pretty proud that she went that far and was beaten by a 7th and 8th grader, and she was still only in 6th. Her teacher, Miss Martin, wrote about it in the school newspaper, and Mallory was pretty proud when she saw that. Obviously, Mom and Daddy were also very, very proud of her. The years fly by, and soon our little girl becomes a middle school student at Corona Fundamental. Many of her friends from Lincoln went to CFIS, but Mallory continued to make many new friends. Mom and Dad were still tolerated, but her friends were the most important thing in her life at this time. We were the house where all the kids went to. She and her friends spent most afternoons sprawled about her bedroom listening to Eminem or whoever was popular at that time, laughing about some silliness at school. They were very nice young people, and we loved having them around, despite the escalating food bills. Just like in grade school, Mallory excelled in middle school. She was a confident and competitive student, and although she was working on being cool and popular, she still brought home excellent grades and was enrolled in the Gifted and Talented program. Well, you saw the baby cheerleader picture. Here we are in high school. Mallory tried out for JV cheer as a freshman at Santiago High School and made the squad. The tryouts were like super intense. A ton of kids were there, but Mallory nailed it. And I still remember to this day, her and her 2 friends, the other 2 freshmen that made the squad, saying, "Who's the cheerleader?" "Oh, I'm a cheerleader." And I could just at any time go, "Who's the cheerleader?" And Mallory would come back, "I'm a cheerleader." So it was a very big moment for her. And I know a lot of you guys have been doing proms, and it's that type of year again. And here are Mallory and the girls before another formal. I'll give one quick side note here. One of Mallory's goals in high school was to get to UCSB. Her other goal was to go to prom 4 years, and she actually achieved both goals. They all look so beautiful. Gentlemen look so handsome before the big night out. Mallory thoroughly enjoyed high school, and not only did she attend all the proms, as I said, she graduated with honors, was accepted by UCSB, which was her first choice all the way through. Mallory strikes a pose with Cole, who was her most serious boyfriend during high school. You can see in this picture she's becoming a very confident young lady. We're also very proud of her. She made it. A lot of you guys are getting ready for this picture yourselves, I'm sure. This is her graduation picture from Santiago High School. Here's a picture of Mallory and my wife Rayona, just a mom and girl picture. I don't know when this was shot, but I just love the picture. This was, I'm pretty sure, grad weekend from UCSB. There's proud mama kissing her baby. This is definitely graduation at UCSB because she's got a mortarboard on her head. To her right is my oldest, Matthew Jr., and to the left, almost hiding, is her little brother, Michael. You know, the little tiny one that was in the, yeah, that's him now. Where we past that. This is not such a happy picture. This is in December of 2013. On December 6th, 2013, both mine and Rayona's phone went off just after midnight. It was my two sons calling to tell us that Mallory had been in a traffic accident and had severe head trauma. The first thing I had to do was go upstairs, wake up Rayona, and tell her what had happened. We hopped in the car and started driving 150 miles from our house in Corona out to Cottage Hospital. We got there, she was in an intensive care surgical unit, and when Dr. Ferrigno came out, she let us know that the prognosis wasn't real good, that on the 15-point scale for brain trauma, with 3 being the lowest and 15 being the highest, that Mallory was at a 3. They didn't think she was going to make it through the night, but Mal's a fighter, and she fought. And we made it through the first 24 hours, and we had some hope. And over the next few days, there were positive signs and setbacks. In the accident, she had damaged the carotid arteries at the front of the throat and lost some blood flow to the brain. Along with the initial trauma, we had to worry about that. As the days went by, they showed there was some stroke damage on the CAT scans, and it was expanding, and things were getting worse. On December 10th, they took her off of medications so they could do what's called the neurological test. That's basically the test to determine if one is brain dead. And at this point, if things went well, the best we could hope for is that Mallory would be in a persistent vegetative state. I knew she would never want that. So on the 10th, I whispered into her ear, Mallory, this is a test I don't want you to pass. I didn't want to have to make the decision. I wanted that decision made for us. So the next day, at 3 o'clock, when they removed the breathing tube to see if her body attempted to breathe, there was no reaction. And our daughter was lost then, declared brain dead. Her body was kept alive for a few more days because she was an organ donor, and they had to locate the recipients, set everything up, make sure that out of this tragedy that some lives could be saved. And indeed there were. 5 lives were saved by Mallory's precious gift. A 28-year-old father of two received her liver. And I'm going to put a little side note on that. This was a direct recipient request. This was a friend of my sister's. This young man, Bo Ward, received the liver and has gone on to become healthy. He and his wife, Michelina, had a baby girl last Saturday, and she's named Mallory. Means the world to us. A 47-year-old father received Mallory's heart. A 17-year-old, someone your age, received her lungs and is able to breathe today. A 2-year-old and a 5-year-old received each kidney. So, as crushed as our Christmas was in 2013, I know that Mallory gave an amazing gift to 5 other families. Proud of her every day about that. I guess the message I want to give you young people is don't let that phone call happen to your family. I'm looking over at some of the parents over here, and when your kids are out at night, we all just dread the possibility of that phone ringing. And you try and put that out of your mind because you know you've taught them right, and they're going to make good decisions, we hope. And here's the thing, you can make the right decisions, but if somebody else makes a wrong decision, that can cost you or somebody you love their life. So it's not just about personal responsibility. We have to look out for each other too. If you see somebody who's about to make that horrible decision and put the key in the ignition when they've been drinking, do whatever it takes. Take the keys away. Throw them up on the roof. Throw them into the bushes. They'll be angry at you that night. And they'll rah, rah, rah. But you know what? They'll call and thank you the next day because you've done the right thing and you were caring about them. I just want to see all of you have long, productive, happy lives, and making the bad decision to drink and drive is not the way to do it. I'm going to have somebody else follow me up here and talk a little bit more about Mallory and what happened that night. And I want to thank you guys all for your time. And again, I want to thank this group down here. I really enjoyed the time with you guys last night, and I'm super proud of what you guys are doing. Thank you.
Hey everybody, proud. I don't really like standing up here in front of all you today, but I feel it's important. That's Mal's dad. I come from the other side. I come from where you guys are all sitting next to your best friend. Mallory was my best friend. I met Mallory at UCSD. We went to college together. You could not like the girl. She was smart. She was a double major, but at the same time, she made every social event possible. And we were almost bragging in her face about it because she could do everything. Mal had the ability to make all her friends around her almost her family. When I call her my best friend, I bet she could call about 20 people her best friend, and that's more of the girl I knew right there. She had this unbelievable personality. As her dad said, she walked into a room and you saw the light. Two of the things I miss most about her, one is her humor, which was nonstop and constant, as you see here today with one of our other friends, Matthew. The other thing would be her hugs, and her hugs were pretty funny. She would see you from a distance, and she was about 5', 200 pounds, and she'd get a full running start, and you would just kind of have to brace yourself because you knew that girl was coming, and she was going to just jump and wrap her legs around you and tackle you to the ground, and she'd do it pretty much every time. Friday was our day. So on Fridays, we would spend pretty much every day together. It was my only day off of work, and we would spend it most of the time going to Brophy Brothers. jump on the little tube, take that over to the pier, go check out the aquarium, walk up and down State Street, hang out on the beach, you know, great Santa Barbara things that we all get to enjoy. And unfortunately, December 6th was a different Friday for us. That was our December 6th together. On the 5th, which was Thursday, I got home from work around 8 p.m. I worked down in Ventura at the time, and I drove back up, and Friday was my day off, like I explained, and I just, you know, I figured, you know, I'm gonna go out tonight. So I went downtown really late, probably around 11 p.m. And I didn't go out with anybody, didn't really have any reason to do it, but I just went down. As I got downtown and went into my first place, which was O'Malley's bar, Mallory walked in. And this was really weird, because for years we bartended together, and if you know anything about bartending, you know, you never have a Thursday, Friday, or Saturday night off. So to see her walk into a bar at Thursday night, first thing out of my mind to her was, you know, why are you not working? And she's like, oh, I just got cut. You know, it's dead. There's not a lot of people, and this was really weird. Probably the first time in 5 years of bartending or knowing her in that world that I'd ever seen her out on a Thursday night. I was really excited. Whenever you got to spend time with Mallory, you know, you were always just really excited about it. You knew it was gonna be a really fun time, and we were really pumped up, and we're like, where should we go? And she's like, let's go see our friends at EOS. I'm like, let's go. Normal night, done it 100 times, never think anything about it. We start walking, we walk past Holden's, we go back to that back parking lot, and we come up to Anacapa Road. We stop, look down the street, nobody's coming down the street. We have one friend in front of Mallory, then there's Mallory, then there's me, and a friend behind in about a linear line, and we start walking. And I'll never forget this noise. It comes to me pretty much every day at some point, normally when I'm driving, and I heard this loud, aggressive rev of an engine. And it's one of those, if you're in a parking lot, someone peels out, it's one of those ones that just kind of catches you and you just kind of turn. And I'll never forget, I just turned up, and by the time I looked up and looked back down at Mallory, she was looking back in a crouched position back up at me, and I looked back up, and I watched a car at 58 miles per hour in a 25-mile zone hit Mallory and send her about a basketball court the other way. I watched her land on her back and snap her head back, and you could hear the noise from where I was standing. That's how aggressive and vicious it was. And I remember my first initial reaction was like, I just lost my best friend. Like, you don't live through that. And I started running towards the car, and as you guys could imagine how you would feel, the first thing I really wanted to do was like break this guy's window down and like just choke him. I didn't get that opportunity because he thought it was a good idea to drive away. So he pinned his wheel all the way to the right, almost running her over a second time, and he took off. And of course, you know, there was Mallory laying there, you know, instant big pool of blood. And I couldn't believe it because I looked down and here's Mallory still puffing and puffing. And it wasn't like short breaths, it was like, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, of course it's this stubborn Mallory that I know that could live through that. I went into complete protective mode. I wrapped myself around her, wouldn't let anybody get close. Waited about 15 minutes for the ambulance to show up, and you know, you're just, so many thoughts are going through your head. And one of the ones I don't wish upon anybody is my next thought was, you know, I have to call the family. We've had a good relationship through the years. I called Papa Dies, called Mama Dies, didn't get an answer. And I had to call her two little brothers. I finally get both of them, they lived together at the time, and I said, you know, I'm really sorry to have to tell you this, but Mallory just got hit by a car and it was a really vicious accident. And they said, you guys were in the car? And I said, no, we weren't in the car. She was outside the car. He kind of went through the rest. The next 5 days, we're sitting in a hospital. We were up all day, all night. I would say hundreds of people flowing in. And you know, as I look at you guys, it's a thing that goes back to me. The worst part the whole time was we were upstairs, and I just always remember throughout the day coming downstairs and seeing new groups of people, new groups of friends and family sitting there. just looking lost. Like, you're just confused because you just go through life. You don't think anything like this is ever going to happen. You know, and when I think of that, I think of the impact of the friends. Obviously, you heard the impact of the family. The other thing I think of a lot is the impact of the driver's family and the driver. He's currently doing 17 years in jail. And I'll never forget through the process of what we had to go through in the court system and all this stuff with Mallory. His family kept showing up, and you look over at his family and you felt so bad because they lost a son just like, you know, Matt lost a daughter, not in the same way, but in a certain way. And I guess my talk's a little different than his. My talk's more kind of, I'm younger, I'm only 30 years old. I kind of clearly remember what it's like to be your guys' age and being excited about getting out of high school and going out on your own, going to college. And the thing about college is, you know, you guys are on your own now. You're gonna have to make your own choices. And this wasn't an accident. Some people might call that a car accident. That's not an accident, that was a choice that night. He made a choice to get in that car. He made a choice to drive, and he made a choice to, you know, unfortunately put somebody's life in danger. And when you guys go through college, you're gonna make a lot of bad choices. I still make bad choices, and when they're small, they're fine. They get chalked up as life experiences. And they're good. You know, you need them to grow. You're gonna have your friends to make fun of you about it the next day. You know, these are big choices. And, you know, it's very easy to dictate them when you're sitting there and you know that this choice could potentially take away a life or take away your life. You just don't make it. You don't have the ability to make that choice. It's very easy when you simplify it to say no. And, you know, it's just kind of our prayers to just keep, you know, being in the community, being with people around your age group to kind of just organically grow that message of, you know, make these good life choices, go out, have fun, have a blast, but, you know, make sure you get home safe. And like Papa Dai said, make sure that you never have to make the phone call to somebody's parents, and make sure your parents are never getting that phone call about you. Thanks, guys.
We're going to have a slight switch in our program here. I'd like to thank some of the people that are not listed in our program, and that list is really long. There's students and teachers, staff, community members. We have our sheriff's department, our fire department, coroner. All these people contributed, and wouldn't have been possible yesterday to see that accident that you saw without all those people contributing. Our community participants that are listed in the brochure, if you grabbed one as you came in. All those people that donated to the program, donated their time, their effort, their resources to make this possible for you. This program that's put on by the Office of Traffic Safety and the CHP is done regularly at San Marcos High School because of the efforts of all of those people. The CHP is our largest supporter of this program. They give us our guidance, they give us their support, they give us their resources. And to give you a quick summation before we watch our video today, the Public Information Officer for California Highway Patrol, Officer Jonathan Gutierrez.
All right, guys. Glad you're all here. I'm glad you guys got to experience what you guys got to experience yesterday. This program was actually invented in 1995, and the reason being, in the early 90s, every 15 minutes, this happened to somebody's family in the United States of America. As of a couple years ago, it's about every 21 minutes, and as of today, it's actually every 30 minutes this happens. It's still an unforgivable stat, and just like you said, everybody has to make a choice, and this is something that you guys can avoid in the future. So when you guys if you're going to go somewhere, and you're thinking about drinking, and you're of age, and it's fine, but then you're going to see somebody that's going to want to drive, and you're going to be the person that's going to be able to stop them from doing that. So please make that decision and stop them, save their life. There's so many options. You know, you can give them a ride yourself if you're sober. You know, have a sober driver. You know, Uber, taxi, call their family, call some other friends. There's so many options you guys can use, so please do that. I do want to say there's one thing that the hardest thing I've ever had to do on the job is actually tell a San Marcos student's family that their son was killed by a DUI driver. To this day, I remember the date, I remember the student, I remember how the family looked at me when I had to tell them that their son was killed. It's one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my life. And still to this day, I think about it. And this was in 2009. So please, save somebody else's life. If you see somebody that's going to do this, please stop them, okay? And enjoy the movie, guys.